Hello and welcome to episode 75 of the Pixel Street podcast, where each and every week we get together and talk about one of the things we love most, video games. As always, I am one of your hosts, Joel Campos, and I am joined with the man who just ordered his Diva cosplay off Amazon so that he can play Overwatch on his Switch on a rooftop, John Hansen.
Nah, it's all about Tracer.
Oh, so you bought the Tracer cosplay?
Yeah.
Oh.
Dude, I've always said that if I were ever the cosplay, I would do like a male version of Tracer.
That's hot.
Mm-hmm.
How skin tight is that cosplay?
Super.
Speaking of tight, we also have Connor Kopp.
Yep. You know me. Tight. Yep, that's it.
Weed is tight, man. Weed is tight. All right. You can send us topics via email at pixelstreetpodcast@gmail.com. But the easiest way to do that is by tweeting at us at pixelstreetpod over on Twitter. We put out a tweet usually the night before we record a podcast, sometimes the day of, and we just ask for topics, so just reply there. You can find our Facebook page over at Pixel Street Podcast by searching there. We are also on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and now Spotify. How exciting is that for you, Connor?
Incredibly exciting, because I hate everything else.
I was going to say, because everybody loves the sound of their own voice.
It's true. The only thing that I wake up for in the morning is to hear myself. That's really it.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, you can find our podcast on Friday mornings. This one will probably be up Thursday at some point, Thursday night. I don't know. We'll see if I can get it done today. As well as on YouTube, by searching Almost Random there, or Pixel Street Podcast, it'll come up. Yeah, or you can watch it on Facebook as well. We enjoyed having new people follow our content so much that we hope to keep you around with another giveaway. Hopefully when we reach 100 followers. I think that's the plan, right? 100 followers, yep. Or a 100th episode, whichever comes first. Hopefully the followers. Yeah, just follow us over at Pixel Street Pod on Twitter to stay up to date with that. This week we are going to be talking all things Nintendo. So if you don't know, today, the day of recording, is the 4th of September, and there was a Nintendo Direct, so we're going to dive deep into that for the most part. But yeah, moving on, I guess let's look at these new releases. First and foremost, we have Gears 5. I know that for sure. I know I'm going to be playing it tomorrow night. What about you two?
Yeah, I will be as well.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going to check it out. IGN just dropped their campaign review for it, and they're currently working on the multiplayer review. And the campaign got an 8.8, which was much higher than I was expecting. So pretty stoked to check that out.
Yeah, I was looking at that, and they also, like, Gears 1 and 2, I think, got like 9.5s or something like that. Like, really high. But I think that's because back then they didn't separate the story from the multiplayer.
Right. Yeah, a bit of a different format. And I mean, you have to remember at the time, they were such influential games in the scene. There was really nothing like it. So, well deserved. I really want that series to come back in a big way, and it seems like Gears 5 is going to be the one.
Yeah, everything I've been seeing seems like the story is going to be pretty good compared to previous games.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for it. Also coming out on Friday is Monster Hunter World Iceborne and NBA 2K20. I know I'm not playing either of those, but they're big enough games that we need to at least acknowledge them. Also on Friday is the physical version of Tetris 99 that we will talk about later when we get to the Direct. Don't really know if there's like...
I gotta throw a shout out next week. It doesn't land this week, so it's beginning of next week, but Greedfall is just around the corner, and that's a game that I've had my eye on for a little while. It kind of reminds me of Fable, almost. Kind of a mix between Fable and Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And I'm very stoked for this game. Honestly, didn't hear much about it leading up to it. I think it clocks in at $50, so a little cheaper than your average AAA release. And wow, I mean, just the trailers and the level of customization in that game have me super, super hyped for that. So expect to be playing that soon. Keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, I can't say that I've heard of that before, but I'll definitely check it out if it's like Fable.
I mean, yeah, definitely don't throw that word around loosely either, because you'll have some people showing up at your door.
It's true. It's true. Mostly Peter Molyneux. He's got nothing else going on in his life, so
Yeah, and other than that, at the end of next week we have Borderlands 3, which I'm sure we'll talk about next week. Hopefully reviews are out by the time we record.
I'm sure they will be.
Hopefully. Let's see. That does it for the new releases coming this week. John, you want to take the free games with gold for the month?
Alright, until September 15th, right now you can get Forza Motorsport 6. Wow, I do not like the way this is all in here right now. For the whole month of September, you can get Hitman the complete first season. I definitely recommend it, especially if you like stealth games. We Were Here is available from September 16th to October 15th. Earth Defense Force 2025 is available September 1st to the 15th. And then Tekken Tag Tournament is available September 16th to the 30th.
I don't think any of these games interest me other than Hitman.
Earth Defense Force and Tekken Tag Tournament, I'll at least give a try. But it's probably nothing here that I'll really dive deep into.
Yeah, I agree. Connor, you had new Game Pass games?
Yeah, so we actually got a few announced today, actually. So obviously Gears 5, being a first-party Xbox title, is coming to Game Pass day one. And then if you have Game Pass Ultimate, which is the $15 a month gold Game Pass PC combo, you'll actually get access to Gears of War 5 Ultimate, which will have all the extras and goodies, and you actually get to play it a little bit early, which is fantastic. But also hitting on a few separate days, September 5th, you've got Dead Cells, which is a very Metroidvania. It's often described as a side-scrolling Dark Souls. I don't know how true that is, but the art style is gorgeous. A lot of great reviews on that one, as well as Metal Gear Solid HD Edition 2 and 3. So you get the second and third game in the series. Then on September 6th, Creature in the Well, as well as, like I said, Gears 5 Ultimate. Then September 12th, you have Enter the Gungeon and Goner Blueberry Edition. So some stuff coming up here in the very, very near future, as well as a lot of stuff leaving at the end of the month. I definitely recommend checking out that list if there's any current Game Pass titles you're playing. But yeah, some good stuff here in the next few days.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to look forward to. Dead Cells is a game where it's much, in my opinion, much like Celeste. For me, games that are hard like that are really hard for me to get into because I suck at them. But I definitely want to hop into it and check out the art style because I have seen streams of it in the past and it looks really cool.
Mm-hmm. As for the games leaving Game Pass this month, so you got Onrush, Lego Batman 2, Joyride Turbo, Splosion Man, The Maw, Lego Indiana Jones, Shantae Half Genie Hero, Split Second, Ninja Gaiden Black, and The Hunter Call of the Wild. All of those are leaving at some point this month. Out of those, the only one I say you need to play is Shantae Half Genie Hero. That game is great.
And moving on to PlayStation Plus, for September of 2019, the two free games of the month are Batman Arkham Knight and Darksiders 3, which I think both are pretty great games to get for free if you have PS
Some
Plus.
really solid action titles this month.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Twitch Prime for the month. Actually, did they might have announced new ones. Because it's a new month. They usually don't do it until the day of.
If you're looking for a list, I guess in the meantime we could bug the people about something we've been bugging them about for a long time. John, do you want to tell the people?
Yeah, until September 24th, which is 20 days away as of this recording, you can get a free 12 months of Nintendo Online with your Twitch Prime account. Just do it. All the cool kids are doing it.
Just do it, especially with, we're going to foreshadow a bit to later in the podcast, but you are going to be able to get SNES games with it starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
September 5th.
So awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, but I did find the Twitch Prime free games for the month of September. These are all valid from September 3rd until October 1st. You can get Yoku's Island Express, Stealth Inc. 2, A Game of Clones, which I did play, and that was pretty cool. Chicken Assassin Reloaded, whatever that means, and Manual Samuel.
Ooh, Manual Samuel's actually a pretty fun game.
So yeah, definitely if you have Twitch Prime, go ahead and log into Twitch and claim those games if you ever plan on playing them, or if you just want them.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. All right, let's get into the games we're playing. John, what have you been playing this week?
First off, I have been putting so much time into Control. I think I mentioned last week that I was reviewing it for a site, and yeah, it came out and I just went hardcore into it. I'm not sure if it's my game of the year, but it's definitely up there. This is one of my favorite games of the year. I think it's brilliant. It's got a great story until the end. Very few performance issues, but there are some there. The gameplay is just fun. You feel like a Jedi with a gun at points. Such a very good game. I love Remedy's last 3 games, including Control, and I 100%ed it within the first week of it being out. I mean, I've just been so hardcore on it.
How many hours do you think that took you?
It's not a long game. Not, I would guess somewhere between 12 and 15 hours to 100% it.
100%, wow. Yeah, because I'm looking on howlongtobeat.com, and it says the average for completionists is 23 hours. But it also says main plus extras is 14 and a half hours, so I don't know what the difference between doing the main plus extras and completionist is.
Well, main plus extras, I'm guessing, is all the achievements. You don't get an achievement for like collecting every collectible, but there are so many in the game that they're just like little folders and like side stories that you find. They don't really have any impact on the game, really, but they're there if you want to grab them.
Yeah, okay, I see. Somebody commented on them having done the completionist, and it says probably or near all collectibles, all side missions.
Yeah. No, I think the story is great. The side missions are also great, and there's enough there that once you beat the story, it's a good enough reason to come back to the game.
Yeah, and like this game just came out last Tuesday, and this past weekend it was already on sale for $37 for Xbox One, which is crazy.
Oh, was it really? I missed that.
Yeah, Wario64 tweeted it out. I think it was 38 on Amazon or 37 if you ordered for store pickup at a Target.
Yeah, I want to add there that Amazon does stuff like this quite a bit. It's actually pretty common for them to take a hit and kind of gain that front-end jump to hope that you buy something else through them. So it's not terribly uncommon. It's not a publisher-approved sale, though, so just a bit of a differentiator.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, I'd be pretty frustrated if I paid $60 on Tuesday and then come Saturday it's on sale for $38.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's definitely frustrating, and that's why I always tell people never to pre-order games. Right? My 2 co-host GameStop workers.
I don't really care. I think if you know you're gonna like a game, like, go ahead and pre-order it. Like I do, but I only pre-order games that I know I'm gonna buy.
Yeah, exactly. Like for me, it'd be like the next Halo game. Definitely pre-ordering it because I know no matter what, I'm playing it day one.
Yeah. I actually get in trouble a lot at GameStop because I don't really try and persuade people to not cancel their pre-orders. But
all right, this is a completely different podcast.
Yeah. I'm just saying that if you know what you like, pre-order it. Like you might get tiny little bonuses and everything, and if you have any questions whatsoever on if you'll like a game or not, don't pre-order it. Like I was thinking of pre-ordering Anthem and I wasn't 100% sold on it. I'm glad I didn't pre-order it because it
What a shit show.
Wasn't for me. Yeah.
And Connor's going to plead the fifth.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, but yeah, Control, I mean, I think it reviewed pretty good, so definitely check it out if you're interested. Go read John's review. John, where's your review at?
It is... One second, I just got a new website that it's getting posted on. ShiKobaGames.com. Yeah, so I gave it a 9 out of 10. That's how much I liked it, so it was very good.
Cool.
Control is actually one of the games that I have listed for what I've been playing too, so I'm just going to interject and go ahead and add myself into this conversation and totally agree with John. This game friggin' rocks front to back. I picked it up. It was actually out of town all of last week. That's why I wasn't here last week for a work trip. We'll get into a little bit later. And when I got back, I was really itching to play something. Just couldn't decide on anything, and I'd been thinking about Control for a while, saw some of the preliminary reviews, and thought, what the heck, why not? Give it a shot. And I am blown away by how much I like that game. I probably encountered a lot of performance issues that probably would have annoyed the living hell out of me in any other game. Every single time that you come out of the pause menu, you've got really bad single digit frame drops, which is just a nightmare. The map doesn't load regularly, which is just very frustrating. And then on top of that, I will say that I absolutely hate the inventory system. I really feel like the inventory system is out of a game from 2007. It's just very archaic. I mean, limiting an inventory to 24 items when you have mods where you're getting 2 or 3 mods per battle is just very frustrating. It makes you kind of spend more time in the inventory than you're looking to spend, which kind of removes you from the experience. But that being said, the game is so good that stuff is forgivable. Mm-hmm. It does such a good job of world building and designing this to kind of almost be a believable experience as far as the Shadow Corporation aspects of it go. And I really can't recommend this enough. I think this is definitely going to end up on my top 10 list of the year, if not my top 5 for the year. One of my favorite things about this game is that even though the map sucks, one thing that they do so well is building a believable world that flows like you would expect a world to. So all of the signs in the game are accurate signs that show you where to go and where to end up. So when you're trying to move to a new objective that's in a new area of the oldest house in the game, you literally can just follow the signs there, and there's not a lot of games that have accurate signage. I know it seems like a weird gripe, but it was very impressive how they had that set up. So hugely recommended.
What I really think is so impressive about the world is that it's literally one building, and the entire game takes place between 5 different floors, and you're going to be doing a lot of going back and adventuring and going through different areas of past floors that you've been to. And the game just completely pulls it off perfectly. Yep. It never... All you ever see are the same marble walls everywhere you go, and it doesn't get boring. It's the place is shifting all the time as you as you cleanse the new control points. The entire place turns around and moves, and everyone, and you go into the background of all that, how it's really dangerous, and 73% of the accidents at the place actually come from it moving on its own. I just love the environment, and I said in my review that I love the performances that were given. I don't think there was one single character that felt out of place and shouldn't have been here.
Yeah, I mean, great. Ati, the janitor, was
Ati was my favorite.
Just such a good role. You have the different management staff that assist you as you're going throughout. And everybody kind of filled a role on that team, and it made it believable. Not everybody was pandering to you. Everybody kind of had their own objectives and motivations, and it was very, very good. And I think possibly one of the best things they do with that game is a lot of the flavor text around the edges. So in these collectibles, you and I were talking about it, I think at the end of last week, but the game actually has 261 collectibles in it that vary from short television episodes to audio logs to paper files that you can read through, and all of them are super, super good quality. And some of them are hilarious to read, some of them are ridiculous, but all of them are believable in that universe, and go towards building what is, I think, one of the best new, I guess, IP worlds that I've seen in a long time. So very happy with it.
Yeah. One thing I want to ask you, though, not giving out any spoilers whatsoever, because I can't really come to a decision on this. Do you think they make a sequel for this?
Man, that's a really tough question. I was thinking about it after I beat it, and the ending definitely leaves room for a continuation.
But it doesn't really nail it down. Right.
It could absolutely leave it off where it is. I think if we get a sequel, it's going to be an in-universe kind of thing. I don't think it's going to necessarily be following Jesse Faden again. It may be some of the fringe characters. And honestly, looking at this, I don't want to give away too much of it, but Remedy does a really good job of hinting at some of their other properties in this and kind of building a universe around them all. And I could see them kind of just building games in this universe that aren't necessarily connected. So,
yeah, that's kind of what they do all the time.
Right.
There's like always references to Alan Wake and Quantum Break.
It seems like they really went for it here, though.
Oh, yeah. And really, with them getting Alan Wake back, I think they move forward with that franchise more than Control. But like there's like even a point in this game where Alan Wake shows up. Like the game is filled with these items. They're just normal items, and they're called altered items, or there's objects of power. They're both just regular mundane items. One will give you superpowers, the other one just behaves weirdly, and you can like go up to a typewriter and then like an image of Alan Wake with a voice line from the game where he's like talking about his story and everything like pops up into the game, and it's just like, that's so cool, man. Like,
yeah,
they obviously are still thinking about Alan Wake, and I'm sure there's some Quantum Break reference in there somewhere, but I haven't really seen any yet. Yeah, man, it's just such a good game. I loved it.
It really is, and it's honestly the weird stuff in it that's the best stuff in that entire game. Like, my favorite thing, for anybody that's played it, they'll know what I'm talking about, but the Ocean View Motel is just so freaking cool, and it's such an awesome concept to just think about. This game just gets me jazzed, man. I honestly, I am very much considering rebuying this on PC and just replaying it on there, as I played on Xbox One X the first time around. Is I want to kind of experience it without the performance issues, and honestly, it's just that good. I also 100%ed it, just to add to that conversation. All achievements, all collectibles, all side missions. The final boss fight is bullshit, by the way.
It's not even the final boss. It's a side mission.
Yeah,
it's most likely going to be the last boss you face.
It's like the final Valkyrie in God of War. Where it's just kind of an extra fight, but man, is it difficult. Jeez. But yeah, that's Control. I think it's fantastic. Very well put together. Remedy really knocked it out of the park here, and I think worth noting is that they really kind of clarified and fixed all of the issues that I had with Quantum Break and just improved on it. So
yeah, and enjoy the first 9 chapters of the game, though the 10th one is a little weak.
It is, yeah, I agree. But you're better for it. So
yeah.
What else you playing? We got Joel here.
I think I'm still
alive?
I'm still on this podcast. I'm not.
Are you?
I'm not entirely sure.
We didn't want to take control of the entire. I'll stop there.
I mean, I do want to play Control.
We just kind of forced the issue.
All right, I'm putting John on a 10-second timeout. But anyway, yeah, I do want to play Control. Just for me, I think there's too many games coming out in the next few weeks that I want to play. So I think I'm gonna wait until I see it on sale or something in the near future. But yeah, I beat Gears of War 4 again. I played through all the Gears games leading up to Gears 5, which comes out tomorrow. Technically, I think it comes out September 5th at 9 p.m. local time. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, the same goes for you as well. Yeah, Gears of War 4 is fine. I mean, graphically, it looks great. I talked about it a little bit last week. I think the story in 4 is slightly better than like previous ones. Like, I think 2, Gears of War 4, I think, in my opinion, is probably better than 2, maybe even 3. But I'm excited to see where the story goes. And it's making more sense to me after watching, because I only played Gears of War 4 one time, and that was when it first came out. But yeah, after having watched, the gameplay, or not the gameplay, the story trailer for the game, the one that's cut to 9 Inch Nails song, which is a great trailer, by the way. I think it makes a little more sense where this next game is going to go.
I gotta ask, because I want your guys' opinion on it, but do you think it's been long enough for that game to be out at this point to talk about spoilers? Do you think we're safe?
Gears 4?
Oh, yeah. For 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
perfect. Fine. I just want to say that robot mission is the coolest fucking thing on the face of the planet.
Yeah, it's like the last
so much fun.
Yeah, it's like the last 2 chapters of the game, right?
Yeah, it's something like that. You end up in a giant mech suit, and you're basically playing Gears of War Mega, and it's just friggin' sweet.
Yeah.
Not only that, but like it reintroduces Cole and Baird, and
yes,
you're just walking around in giant mechanical suits. Like that is actually one of my issues with Gears of War 4, is that the best part of it is the very end, and it feels like it's building up to something, and then it just ends. Like, you get that final boss fight, which was it wasn't great, it wasn't bad, it was just kind of there, and I was kind of hoping to keep going in the story. Like, it almost feels like something was cut off there, because you have Kate saying her goodbyes to her mom and everything, then they come out and they're like, okay, we gotta get back to work, and then the game ends, and I'm like, it just, I guess it's good because it left me wanting more, and that's really what's kind of pushing me into Gears 5 here. But I just love the robot level as well.
Yeah, I especially love how they make you execute some of the things you're killing. Like, you can't just kill it normally. They make you walk up to it and like execute it in this huge mech thing. I also forgot that they didn't mention Baird's name until the very end of the game, which I thought was pretty cool. Like, they just keep alluding to Marcus's friend.
Yeah, yep.
But I remember that. But they never say who it is. I remember thinking when it came out, I was like, all right, so it's gonna be like somebody from a previous game. But then I was thinking in my head, like, no, they would have said their name if it was, but they were just kind of holding out, I guess.
Well, I mean, recently when I played it, that was my first time playing it. You know the entire time who it is. You're thinking it's either Cole or Baird, because he's just referencing how he's got friends that will come and help him. I didn't know if it would be both, but like, those guys were also like main characters in every other game.
Baird was the main character in Judgment, so it all made sense.
I did on this playthrough get the achievement for when you first meet.
Seriously?
No, yeah. I dumped in like 1,000 hours this past week. No,
wow.
I did get the achievement for when you first meet up with Marcus in the house, in the mansion. When he gives you that gun, if you keep that Lancer throughout the game, you get an achievement.
Huh.
Because it's technically a special custom Lancer, and it has like wood grain on the side of it. So I actually got that because my buddy told me about it, and I always prefer the Lancer anyway.
I hope that we get another instance where we can throw tomatoes as grenades.
Oh yeah.
Toms.
Yeah, you know that they're gonna reference tomatoes in this fucking game again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can we take guesses real quick on if we think any main character dies this time around?
I don't know, because they're really, in like the marketing and stuff, they're really leaving JD out of all of it.
Yeah, I think he's fine though. Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna do this because I think it's gonna break a lot of hearts.
Don't say Marcus, you motherfucker.
No, not Marcus. I think Marcus lives. I think the Coltrane dies in this game. It's gonna break my heart because I love the Coltrane.
Everybody loves the Coltrane.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and put my money on Marcus. I think it's gonna happen. I think it's time.
That would be the ultimate send off of like.
Can we also really talk about JD's his change? Like it just out of nowhere, he's like a completely different person.
You're talking about like the trailers for the new one.
Yeah.
They're like kind of portraying him as kind of a bad guy now.
Yeah, he's just kind of a dick out of nowhere. Yeah. Like where we last saw him in Gears of War 4, he was like super understanding and there for Kate. But the trailer we see him in for Gears 5, he's like, no, fucking listen to me, like, you fucking idiot. I was like,
it also,
all right.
It's also weird because like he's technically in a relationship with Kate in 4, and it doesn't seem like they're close at all in 5 from the trailers.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see this weekend.
Yeah.
All right, John. What else have you been playing?
I've been playing more Minecraft. I joined up in a realm last week, I believe, is when I started talking about this, and just been having more fun. Not much more to say. Minecraft is just constantly adding more stuff into the game, and it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it again for the first time in a very long time.
You've been playing it everywhere, because I saw it said you were playing on Xbox one day. Later, I saw you were on Switch, and then were you playing on mobile?
Mm-hmm. No, I have it on mobile for my daughter, but I don't play it on there. I only play it between my Xbox and my Switch. I'll just be playing on my Xbox, and then if I go into the other room to watch the Cardinals play, or if I'm just laying in bed watching YouTube, I play it on my Switch. Double the achievements, and it works great on both ends, so I'm always down for that.
Connor, what's your experience with Minecraft?
It's Minecraft, man. I don't know how much else I can say. I mean, it's a classic. It's the GOAT when it comes to block building. Roblox who? Nobody. That's who.
Fucking Roblox.
People are still playing that shit pretty hot. I mean, it's still, I don't know how many of those cards you guys sell, but I sell a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
So that's like targeted towards little kids, right?
Yeah.
This ain't your daddy's Minecraft.
I had a company picnic a few weeks ago, and my boss's son, she had always told me that he like plays video games pretty often, and she would ask me questions about like Fortnite and stuff, and I'd give her advice on like whatever you do, don't fucking give them access to your credit card on your on that stuff because they'll abuse it. And I met her son for the first time at this barbecue, and he.
Did you spit in his face and call him a nerd for liking Fortnite?
Well, no, that's the thing. Is like,
loser.
It's like she was telling him, he's like, oh yeah, Joel does like video game stuff, like he plays and like he writes sometimes. I was like, yeah, I do. And then she's like, tell him what game you've been playing. I was like, what? You've been playing Fortnite? And he's like, no, that's a baby game. Like this kid's like 12 years old.
Oof.
And then I was like, oh, so what have you been playing? He's like, I've been playing Minecraft all summer. I was like, good for you, man. Like you're going backwards, but in a good way.
No, Minecraft is actually making a very big comeback, and like it never went away. I mean, it just became like the biggest selling game of all time in like May, but it's starting to reach those levels again of popularity that everyone is back on it. You got people like PewDiePie and all these big streamers.
I think I saw Ninja streaming it, but technically he's owned by Microsoft now.
Yeah, but all those big guys, they're going back to Minecraft right now. It's really interesting because if this continues, we could see Minecraft hit that point where it transcends the gaming industry again, which it has. I can't think of a game before that's ever done that, where it's just like bigger than the game industry. It stays big, but it goes away, gets overshadowed by something for a while, and then boom, it's back again. Like that's going to be very interesting to see if that happens.
I'm honestly kind of surprised Minecraft has not come out with a battle royale mode yet.
They have.
Wait, really?
Well, there was some kind of mode that came out. I can't remember what it's called, but they had something like it.
Okay.
I don't think it's exactly like a battle royale. It might be like a 12-person deathmatch or something.
I got to tell you what, though, I am weirdly excited for Minecraft Dungeons.
Oh,
I think
me
that
too.
game looks sweet.
Yeah,
it does look really good.
I was going to bring that up. That actually does look really cool. I'm excited for that. All right, Connor.
Yep.
What else have you been playing?
Yeah, so I got a few more things I want to flip through real quick. I'm going to keep it brief on one of them. The first one is Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. It was released on the original Xbox. One of my favorite games of all time. For whatever reason, I got an itch to just go ahead and replay it. And I'm loving every minute of it. Man, this game is so freaking good. I'm playing it on my X. It's backwards compatible. And I do believe it's X enhanced, or at the very least, obviously 4K compatible. And it is a treat. It is kind of one of the games that put BioWare on the map back in the day. I mean, it predates Mass Effect, obviously, and games like Dragon Age. And I genuinely think without this game that we wouldn't have a Mass Effect or Dragon Age at this point. So lot of ancestry there, but this game is just so friggin' good. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. I think it still holds up as far as the RPG gameplay goes. Obviously, graphics have improved a little bit since I think it released in 2004. So definitely doesn't hold up in that department, but the gameplay and just the quality story writing and kind of the interpersonal relationship play between all of the characters and the dynamics there is just really, really interesting, and I'm having an absolute blast replaying this game. And I couldn't have picked a better time to play it, as we'll be talking about in a bit. There are a few other classic Star Wars games that recently were announced for re-release on some of the current gen systems, which I'm super stoked for. And it gives me hope that maybe one day I'll get a KOTOR remaster, which would change my life, and you'd probably never see me ever again. So,
Are those ones that were just announced? Are they remasters?
they
No,
are
they're ports.
Yeah, they're like an up-res essentially.
Okay.
So
Continue.
I know that the PS4 version of that upcoming one we're chatting about actually has overhauled controls. I saw a tweet about modernized controls with it, so
Oh yeah, the Switch one has gyro controls too.
gross.
I know, it's awful.
Yeah, I can't stand that. But yeah, Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. I'll probably play through the first one and then jump into the second one, which is really good as well. But it was made by Obsidian instead of BioWare. Kind of put Obsidian on the map, but I will say that the tutorial world, Paragus, is garbage, and I'm still upset about it to this day, Obsidian. Why am I playing a freaking tutorial planet for 3 hours?
Ooh.
Anyway, that's Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. The other one that I'm playing right now is Remnant from the Ashes. Have either of you guys played this?
No.
Nope. I know
guys
you've been
should-
talking about it.
Yes, you should absolutely check it out. I haven't put a ton of time into it, as I picked it up at the same time I grabbed Control and just got super sucked into Control. But Remnant is two things. First off, horribly named. That name just sucks. And two, a kick-ass video game. I've heard a lot of people describe it as kind of a Dark Souls Bloodborne with guns.
You know what's hilarious is I was gonna say Remnant just sounds like a Dark Souls game.
Yeah, yep, and it really does it a disservice because it sounds like in Xbox Live arcade game on the 360 or something ridiculous like that. But no, the game's really, really good. It's a little bit cheaper at like $40 or so, so it's not crazy expensive. It is co-op. I think you can play up to 3 players in a group. And the cool thing about the game is that it has similar story beats for everybody, but everything in between is randomized. So like the first boss that you fight will be totally different from the first boss that most other people fight. And like, let's say you get stuck somewhere, then you can call your friends in, and let's say they played that section. Their section would be totally different than the section that you go through and play, because everything is 100% randomized. So super cool there. It does have some gunplay in it, and the gunplay is incredibly satisfying. I think the parts that people talk about being similar to Dark Souls and Bloodborne is there is a dodge mechanic along with some melee combat. It's not super in-depth, but it's still very satisfying. But more specifically, there are campfires, which act as checkpoints for you. And when you rest at a campfire, it replenishes all your health and your potions and stuff. But you respawn all the minor enemies in the area. So bit of a trade-off there, and that's where that comes in. Personally, I am not a fan of the Soulsborne stuff. It is just not my thing. I really don't like to scream at my television. My blood pressure is high enough already. I'm not trying to have that experience. But I really, really like this game. Really hoping somebody picks it up in our friend group here pretty soon, because I would love to get in on some action with other people. Playing single player has been a little frustrating, because if you die, you're just kicked back to the checkpoint. And you don't necessarily lose progress, but it is a lot to backtrack to where you were. So I think playing with a group is definitely the way to go here. But the game is great so far. I'm sure I'll be talking about it more in the future, and check it out if you get a chance.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like my type of game personally.
Yeah, the moment you mentioned Dark Souls and Bloodborne, I'm kind of out.
See, that's the great thing, though, is I hate those games. I am not into them at all, and that's why I think the comparisons are so weird that people keep talking about it, because I'm not into those. And when I first heard that, I was like, man, I'm not going to be into this game at all. It's just not going to be for me. I don't like those mechanics. But after seeing it honestly, there's a game I played way back on the original Xbox called Enclave. It reminds me a ton of that game, as well as just kind of a dungeon crawler. It really feels like playing an MMO almost, where you're just dungeon crawling but with better combat. So I wouldn't write it off immediately.
All right. I mean, I'll definitely watch a video or something, but it does not sound like something I would personally like. Moving on, I'm just going to briefly talk about my last game, because I kind of want to wait until John has a chance to play it, because I know John is going to be playing it in the next week here. Is WoW Classic. It definitely has me hooked again, which is kind of depressing, but fun at the same time. It's just how I remember it way back in the day. I've seen a lot of old friends that I haven't seen play video games at all, like pop up online on my friends list, which is really cool. I think I'll go into it in more depth next week, just because John will have a chance to talk about it as well. John, what are your initial... Have you ever played it before?
No, before today, I had never touched WoW. As a kid, I loved Warcraft 3, and when WoW came out, I was like, oh yeah, another Warcraft game? I'm down for that. I asked for it for Christmas, didn't realize that it was an MMO and that you had to have a subscription for it. My parents were not gonna pay monthly for me to play a video game when I had so many other video games. And also, I didn't have internet. So it's just something that passed me by, and I never had a chance to play. But right now, I am reviewing WoW Classic for a website. It would be clubpenguinhero.com. I am hoping to have it written up sometime within the next week, but it's more of a review for people who have never played the game before, because if you have played the game before, you know what you're getting into. It's literally the same thing that came out 15 years ago. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm excited to hear your impressions on it as somebody who had never played. Just because everybody I know has played, at least like the first 10 levels or something.
Yeah, that is one thing I want to mention real quick. Is so in regular WoW, you can play like a free trial, and your first like 20 levels you can play on trial. but you don't get that on WoW Classic right now.
No.
Like you have to pay the subscription to play it. And I'm like, I mean, I was going to pay it anyway because I'm reviewing it, but I'm like, that just kind of seems a little off to me that you can't even give people like 5 levels or something to at least just try the game. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what goes into all that sort of decision making.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if once they realize that WoW Classic dies down a bit, because there's a lot of hype around it since it just came out like last week, 2 weeks ago. I think that they'll eventually open it up to say, hey, here you go, you can play the first 10 levels up to level 10.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just my opinion on what will happen. Let's move on to some news. Connor, you want to take this first piece you have in here?
Sure. I just want to touch on this real quick, as this kind of came out of left field right before we sat down to record. The headline, I'll just jump right into it, is the star of E3 2019 is leaving her big Bethesda game, Ghostwire Tokyo. You might remember this trailer from E3, Bethesda's presser this year. It was one of the few games that drummed much hype for the publisher this year. And I personally thought the teaser was very intriguing, and you might remember the adorable little goofball that came out on stage that was super, super nervous to introduce the game. Her name is Ikumi Nakamura. She's actually the protege of one Shinji Mikami of Evil Within fame. Long time industry veteran.
And Resident Evil 2.
And Resident Evil 2. Long time industry veteran. They've worked together for a long time, and she's been with that company for 9 years, but she announced today that she is leaving. No reasons were given. Nothing was talked about, and nothing was indicated any kind of bad blood or anything. Her post simply says, after 9 years as creative director and art director at Tango and ZeniMax, I felt here is one of the ends of the journeys. I learned from the talented people I've worked with and I respect. Contact me if anyone wants to work with me. Again, this kind of came out of left field. Just a weird little thing I wanted to talk on, as she seemed to be a very instrumental part in the development of this game, and I'm curious to see how it's going to affect Ghostwire as it moves forward. Of course, we haven't seen too much on it. But it definitely seemed like it was a bit of her pet project. At this time, they say that Shinji Mikami is going to stay on to handle development of this game. So I'm sure it's in good hands. I'm sure that the project will be okay. I'm interested to see what Ikumi does next. But I will say that this was a little bit shocking, especially with no reason or anything given. So bit of a strange one. Wish her all the best. Hopefully things go over well. And, we'll see where she goes next.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was completely shocked to see this. Like, I hadn't heard about it, and then when I saw you put it in, I was like, what? Because this looked like this was her project.
Yeah.
And it was just... I mean, Shinji... what's his name? Shinji Mikami?
Yep.
He's probably taken over her spot, and it's gonna be fine. The dude's put out so many great games. The game, I believe, will end up fine. It's just, it looks like from the outside that this was her decision, and just like, it kind of looks like she just decided she didn't want to work on this project anymore. I mean, there's, like you said, there's no reference to what she's doing next. It's just like, hey, yeah, I decided to quit. Get a hold of me if you want to work with me on something. And it's like, what? It's completely out of nowhere.
I think what's super strange about it too is the fact that this came at kind of the peak of the hype bubble for her and that game, where people were just really, really invested in knowing more about it, and that makes it a super, super strange choice for her to step away like this. And I think out of anything, it makes me mostly concerned for the culture at Bethesda, and really makes me wonder kind of what's going on behind the scenes. Obviously, you've seen a rough couple of years for Bethesda at this point, and I really hope it doesn't spell any larger trouble for ZeniMax or Tango, as all of those have fantastic talent at them. So I don't know, something to follow, something to see. Obviously, this is a very, very early story at this point. I think it came out literally a half hour before we sat down to record this podcast. So very, very fresh. May get some more details in the future. I'll have to keep an eye on it.
All right. Boys, let's talk about the Nintendo Direct. I want to get a little happy here.
Yes.
All right, John. It's time for John's Overwatch Minute.
All right. Well, the September 4th, 2019 Nintendo Direct was today, and I am currently writing a news piece that is going over every single thing announced. So let's I'm just going to pull that up here in a second. Be sure to check my Twitter at RevixShadows to see when that goes up. But as Joel was saying, the very first announcement, the cold open of the Direct, was confirmation that Overwatch is coming to the Nintendo Switch on October 15th. It doesn't look like they're really changing anything. It looks like Overwatch. They didn't really say any like exclusive things going on, like no skins or anything. So it just looks like it's just a plain port. There is gyro controls if you are a madman and really want to throw. So you can do that if you're just a bad person. Yeah, that's really all I have to say on Overwatch. Moving on from there, Luigi's Mansion 3. Okay, I guess I'll throw it to you guys. What do you guys think about Overwatch coming to the Switch?
I think it's pretty cool.
No-brainer.
Like Connor said, it is a no-brainer. I think it's going to sell like crazy. Just because personally, I'll probably pick it up so I can play in my living room when my girlfriend is watching TV or something, and I don't feel like playing on the Xbox or, isolating myself from the world with my giant ass Turtle Beach headphones.
I have one problem with this.
Skins? No carryover?
No, well, I wish that they
Two
would just
problems
do
with this.
I wish they. I want every game that's on multiple platforms to have cross progression and cross saves.
If Destiny can figure it out, I think any game can.
Yeah, especially when you link your account in the game. Like Overwatch has you link your Blizzard account. Like let's just fucking do it. You can carry it over. Believe me, guys, you can do this if you wanted to. But
PlayStation is almost all right with it.
Almost. My biggest problem though is that they didn't give a price, and that really makes me think that they're going to sell this for $60.
No,
I
it's
did
40.
happen to find a listing. It is $40, and it looks like it actually includes either a year or 3 months.
I think it's 6 months of Nintendo Online.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 or 6
That's
months.
awesome.
But yeah, it is $40.
That really was worrying me though, because I didn't see that in it. I was like, I'm going to buy it again because it's one of my favorite games of all time, and I've bought every other version of it, but I was like, I don't know if I want to pay $60 right up front for it. So, all right, that's cool. Moving on, Luigi's Mansion 3 had some new levels shown off. There was like a pyramid level, a ghost ship level, and then also like a disco level. So it looks like there's just going to be tons of different environments in this hotel, which is actually a pretty cool idea. I never have played either of the other Luigi's Mansion games, but I mean, it's just like a haunted mansion the entire time, right?
Yeah, that's pretty appropriate.
Yeah, so seeing them actually change up the environments and everything so drastically, that's a really cool idea. As they announced that earlier this year, like a month or so ago, that is coming out on Halloween. There is also a multiplayer mode called Scream Park coming out, which is pulling off the same Nintendo multiplayer bullshit that it's not available online. It's only local multiplayer for 2 to 8 people. 8 people on one Switch playing this game. It's annoying. Nintendo, just let us play online games with our friends. That's all we want. Fix Mario Maker 2, Nintendo.
That's too much to ask. You can't have that.
Oh,
absolutely not.
Man.
At this point, if a first-party Nintendo game comes out and says they have multiplayer, I just assume it does not have multiplayer.
Right.
Or it's broken.
The multiplayer is not the reason to buy this game. It's definitely the main campaign and everything, but still, it's Nintendo. Next up, Super Kirby Clash was announced, and this is an interesting game. So they were saying this is free to start.
I'm not sure what that means.
Super Mario Run was also a free-to-start game where essentially you get like the intro couple of levels, like an intro pack, and then everything from there on forward you have to kind of buy piecemeal to continue your progression.
Okay, so it's essentially a trial run.
Right. Yeah, it's freemium, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I assume. Like maybe you get the first world and then everything after that you have to pay like $40 to unlock.
Okay. Well, regardless, this is a Kirby game that you're not going around sucking up people and stealing their powers. You're choosing your equipment, and then you and 3 other people are going into a boss battle, like a classic Kirby boss battle, and there's like 100 of these missions. And it looks like that's all the game is. It didn't really look like there was any like level traversal like in normal Kirby games. It looked like it was just boss battles. So that was interesting. What do you guys think of that?
Meh.
Yeah,
I'm kind of the same way.
I mean,
like it's cool, and I'm sure there's definitely a crowd for it. I really don't like this trend of Nintendo kind of inserting the mobile agenda for games and mobile kind of sales model into some of their first party titles. I mentioned Super Mario Run, and that was cool for what it was, but then you have to buy pack after pack after pack just to continue the game, and I'm just not into that, especially for a console game.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting that Mario Kart Tour never showed up at this. Oh well, moving on. Trials of Mana Remake is coming to the Switch. That's coming in April of next year. Return of the Obra Dinn is coming to the Switch as well sometime this fall. I've heard of this game, but this was actually like the first time I saw any footage of it, and it's like a black and white detective kind of game where you're on a ship trying to figure out what happened to the crew there, and you can rewind time. I don't know. It looked very interesting. I think it was like nominated for an award at last year's Game Awards. So
yeah, it actually
something to keep an eye on.
Garnered some very impressive reviews. It's been out on PC and I do believe console, PS4 and Xbox One for quite some time. And you're right, it did. I think get nominated for quite a few awards. One of those including Best Art Style. So definitely one to keep an eye on, as it looks very good and the reviews are fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Little Town Hero is the new IP from Game Freak, the guys that make Pokemon, and their game is releasing October 16th, so about a month before Pokemon releases. So if you're one of those people complaining about Pokemon animations, it's probably because they split their team in two to work on 2 games at the same time.
Ouch.
Yeah, so this was the game. They announced it at E3 2018, and then we heard nothing from it. I mean, I think they gave a little bit of a view of it at E3, but not much. And this time we actually got to see some gameplay of it. Looks like it's got a different kind of battle scheme. Not really sure how much I'm interested in it, but hey, it's another Game Freak game. If you're into them, give it a try. Also, Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale, he did pretty much all of the music for this game. So if you're a fan, give that a look. Time for the big news, though. Super Smash Bros. Banjo-Kazooie is available today.
What?
Woo!
Yes.
Yeah. Super excited for that. They also announced the 4th fighter in the DLC pack, which is Terry from Fatal Fury. So another completely random character that they just pulled out of nowhere, worked their magic, and got brought onto
From
their
the Neo Geo, no less. I mean, it really out of left field.
Yeah, dude. Man, thank you, Masahiro Sakurai. Dude, and then also they announced that so there's one more character that needs to be announced for the DLC pack, but they announced that there will be more characters after that. They did say it won't be a part of the pack, and they didn't say it will be another pack, so it looks like they're just going to be releasing them one at a time going forward, so you still have your chance for some guys that you're holding out hope for. Spyro and Crash, those are the 2 ones that I think just need to be here. So yeah, there's that. What do you guys think of all the Smash news?
Waluigi, baby, give me Waluigi. Oh,
No,
sorry,
no.
this is the wrong
No.
forum for that. I
Let's
apologize.
kick him. Can we mute him?
I love Banjo-Kazooie. I think Banjo-Kazooie is one of the better platformers to exist back in the day. And I'm pretty stoked to see him return. And I kind of really hope he gets another game because of it.
Yeah, I really... You got to think that Microsoft is at least looking at him. I mean, come on. It's been so long.
You ready
People
for my
are
hot take?
Okay, let's do it.
I liked Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts.
All right, now
it.
we're really kicking him.
I said
He's
it.
no
I
longer
liked
on
it.
this podcast.
It was a good
Joel.
game. It was
It
acceptable.
was not a good
It
game.
was an acceptable game. It wasn't that bad.
That doesn't make it a good game.
I don't know.
That's just a game.
Yeah, it was a game that you could play. You were
And following
Banjo-Kazooie
off
and
the
you got
heels
to
of
build stuff.
Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, no.
Absolutely.
I don't want to make
Absolutely.
cars as Banjo-Kazooie.
You know, you could have made tanks as Banjo-Kazooie. Why would you
No,
limit your
that's
imagination
even
to
worse.
cars?
I don't
You
want to
can
be
make
little.
trucks
I
with
don't want to make
Banjo-Kazooie.
slow little
You can make
vehicles.
planes. Did you know you can make
They're
flying
not fun.
vehicles?
I just want to go around this place. I want to grab Jiggies. I want to grab Jinjos. I want to have fun. I don't want to waste my time on a stupid vehicle.
Well, you know, as we continue our Nintendo coverage, I just want to remind everybody that John has small imagination, and that's why he doesn't like nuts and bolts.
Banjo 3 or I riot.
Yes. Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts number 2.
Get the fuck out of
Are
here.
you guys done?
Nope.
No, he's wrong.
But we'll let you take it from here, Joel, so we can murder each other.
You know
in
what's
the
better than
background.
all of those? Ukulele. I'm just fucking with you guys.
You almost got pitchforked to death.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, it's a game.
Yeah, but I think we can all agree that Banjo-Kazooie coming to Smash is awesome, and the fact that they just came out and like, yep, and it's available today.
Yeah, no, that it's definitely awesome news. Don't know if I'm buying the character pass because Banjo's the only one out of them that I care about. I haven't played Persona or Fatal Fury or Dragon Quest, so I have like no background knowledge on either of those other characters. But as I've made pretty clear, I love Banjo. So
I would love. I just thought popped into my head. I would love for the final character in this. You have to imagine that this final character is going to be huge, some kind of big landmark character. But I would love for this final character to be Cuphead. I think it's a perfect fit, especially with it being a crossover. I know it's another Xbox, kind of franchise or whatever, but that would be such a cool fit. I
know that there have been rumors about Tracer coming to Smash as well.
yeah,
I heard those, and those are weird.
yeah, that's a weird addition. Cuphead, man, if they could really pull that art style off, that would be amazing. So after the direct today, Masahiro Sakurai had a little video where he was showing off Banjo, talking about Terry, and he was showing off stuff. And he did announce like new skins for Mii fighters, and there's one where you can make your Mii fighter as Sans from Undertale. And like I guess Toby Fox came in and made that, and then also like chose the music from Undertale he wanted to include it. So if you're an Undertale fan, you have some cool stuff coming up.
I also thought that it was cool that during that that follow-up thing, I saw a tweet that he was telling people to go play Banjo-Kazooie on Xbox because it's available there.
Yeah.
I missed that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Link's Awakening is getting pretty close to its release, so there was some more footage shown off. Nothing really new there. Any Zelda amiibo that you use with the game will be able to save the dungeons you make in the dungeon creator.
Well, hold on.
I
I have a question. Sorry to sidetrack. You said amiibo, and I meant to bring it up. Do you think that there's a possibility we get Overwatch amiibo?
No.
You don't think so?
Oh.
I don't know. It just doesn't fit. If they do, it would be something like Diablo, where it's like a loot goblin. It's not one of the main characters. So maybe like a Pachimari amiibo, which I would definitely buy.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think that they at least have to do one. You know what I mean? Because it'll sell like crazy.
Yeah.
And if they did, like, if they started coming out with multiple, they'd have crazy people like you buying every single one.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I have all of the Overwatch pop figures.
I know.
and I have all of the Ultimate Hasbro figures too.
I think it might be time for an intervention.
So yeah, I just love those characters.
John, us
cool.
doing this podcast with you has just been a really elaborate intervention. Welcome to episode
I
75.
know. We need to talk to you
working.
about Overwatch.
It's not working, guys. All right. Next up, Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Oh, fuck. What did they call it? It's a hashtag symbol. It was like Sharp. FE Encore. So this is like a crossover of Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah.
I think Tokyo Mirage Sessions is already a game, which is a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei, and this is just a Fire.
They're bringing Fire Emblem into
it. It's like a flavored version of it. So
yeah, they didn't do a very good job of explaining it for people that don't know what it is, because I was completely lost. I'm like, is this just a dancing game? And then they're like, oh, and then there's like turn-based battles. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So it was a bit weird. I didn't know what was going on. Probably the biggest surprise for me, I have no idea how this was made. Deadly Premonitions 2, A Blessing in Disguise, is a thing. Have either of you ever seen anything on Deadly Premonitions?
Nope.
No, I've not.
Okay, this is like, I think it's a cult classic game. It's a bad game. It really is. So it's you play as a detective in the spooky town, and you're like figuring out all the stuff that's going on, and it's just got bad mechanics. It's not fun. It does that thing with when you go driving that you have to have enough gas in it, otherwise it will stop, and then you have to walk all the way. It's not great. Just look up some videos on it, and you'll really see what's wrong with the game. But that game and a sequel is coming. The original game is actually available today on the Switch. Divinity Original Sins 2 Definitive Edition is releasing today on Switch. That will support your cross save with your Steam account, which is really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really like that stuff. Bring it to every game that is on multiple platforms. Doom 64 is coming on November 22nd to the Switch. Pete Hines showed up and he was talking about, hey, Doom 25th anniversary. This is like coming out a week after Doom Eternal, or is it the same day? It's really close to it. Give me a second here. Doom Eternal. No, okay, so it's the same exact day that Doom Eternal releases that Doom 64 is coming to the Switch. Next up, Rogue Company is the new game from Hi-Rez, the makers of Smite, Paladins, and a bunch of other free-to-play games. I don't really know what this game is. So they said it's kind of a team-based shooting game where you can choose to have a gun, a melee weapon, or some tech to blow up other people. But that was pretty much all they said about it. Like, it kind of seemed like they were hinting towards it's like in a mission style where you're like teaming up and like going against AIs.
So I was actually able to find a bit of a description for it, and it reads as such. Introducing Rogue Company, a 5v5 online shooter from Hi-Rez Studios. In this new IP, players can play against friends or instantly match up online with a similarly skilled team and a variety of objective-based modes. Mercenaries can be fully customized to match player style. Rogue Company sneaks up to Nintendo Switch in 2020, blah, 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 blah. So it looks like it's a 5v5 kind of almost, I hate to invoke it because they've already ripped it off once, but Overwatch style game.
I mean, they rip off everything that they make, so.
You're right. League of Legends.
Fortnite.
You're right.
Everything.
You're right.
Yeah. So yeah, that looked interesting, at least. Most likely will be a free game when it comes out, but I don't know if they announced that or not. Pokemon Sword and Shield got some new things shown off. The big news is that you can change your clothes. So
and you can cook.
You can
curry
you
rice.
can fucking cook, man.
Yeet.
Only curry and rice, nothing else. Just curry and rice.
It's so
literally the
dumb.
only food that matters. Did you say that it's dumb?
It's so dumb.
Oh my god.
What is the point of it? Like,
That's
what do you
what
get
I'm
from
saying.
it?
What do you
so
mean? What is
dumb.
the point? What was the point of cooking in Breath of the Wild?
There's a fucking
What was the point of
Pokedex
cooking?
Breath of the Wild.
for
Breath of the Wild
food.
gives you different boosts and stuff, and it gets you health back.
Yeah.
They did not explain anything about what this does. They literally said, "Okay, you can cook all this and fill up your curry cyclopedia
And
or
you can
whatever
build
the
up
fuck."
No,
friendships
it was a
with your Pokemon.
Currydex. It was
Let
the
their
Currydex or whatever the
friendships
fuck.
grow together, and then they do
Gotta
better in
cook them
battle.
all, Connor.
Yeah, you absolutely do. You gotta cook them all. They're running out of Pokemon to catch, so you have to. You want to know where all those animations went? To the curry, and the game's better for it. That's all I'm saying.
No, it's not. Cancel your pre-orders right now. The game's ruined.
Well, so what happens if you want to put meat in your curry? You just look over at innocent old
You gotta
Eevee.
put your heart in it.
You look over at old Eevee sitting right next to you in
Well,
Pokeball
you gotta
number
do
4.
something with all those Pokemon that didn't get imported.
I mean, if they're just sitting there in your camp not doing anything, I mean, they're ripe for the picking, right?
It was Rattatat's fault.
That's what that little stick with the feather and bell on the end is for. To lure
Yeah,
them
it's
towards
for-
your stew.
Luring them in towards the pot.
Oh no. Pokemon ranching in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Raise beef.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to cook curry from between 1 and 10 times, and each time it's going to be because the story requires me to do it, and no more.
You're right.
Yeah.
No, you should absolutely cook
no
all
desire
of it.
No, I don't want to. I'm already catching them all. I don't want to cook them all.
You're missing out. You're missing out. That's all I'm saying.
Rice is disgusting anyway.
Well, okay, hold
I'm saying it.
on.
No, I'm saying it. It's nasty. Curry's nasty. All Chinese food nasty. Asian food in general.
This
Yuck.
fucking
Get it out of
curry
here. I don't want this.
Pokedex is tearing this podcast apart.
I need a whole nother podcast to rip this apart and to really identify your daddy issues, because this is some
nasty.
deep-seated bullshit.
Get it out of here. Yeah, I don't want this.
Jesus. Let's move on.
Not my Pokemon game. All right, 2 Pokemon were also shown off. You have Polteageist.
Yeah, he'll be real good in some stew.
It's okay. So when they showed this, they're like, "Hey, what's that Pokemon doing here?" I'm like, "Oh, okay. It's like fashioned in England, so of course there's a teapot Pokemon." It's not a teapot Pokemon. It's tea that takes over hardware or silverware and other kitchen utensils.
Podcast has devolved into madness. We're talking about tea-flavored Pokemon.
So yeah, it's literally a ghost Pokemon made of tea.
See, just fucking throw some of that in your curry. You're good to go.
Oh, don't get me started on how nasty tea is. But Cramorant was the other Pokemon. It is a bird water type. And it seemed to have a pretty cool move where if you use Surf or... there was another move they mentioned. After you use it and the waves pass by, the bird, it's kind of like a pelican. It will like go into the water and grab a fish, and it will just like hold it in its mouth. And if the enemy Pokemon attacks it, it will spit it back at it and do some damage. So it's kind of like a
John, when he tries any food other than American diner food, he just spits it back out.
I would definitely do that if it meant getting out of there. Bad stuff. So yeah, some good stuff. Also, Super Nintendo games are coming to the Switch tomorrow. 20 games. You got Super Mario World. Almost said Super Mario Maker. Link to the Past. A couple Kirby games in there. One really odd game that released on the Super Nintendo and never released anywhere else is making its comeback. It looked kind of like an RC car.
I've got a
game.
full list here if you want me to rattle it off real quick.
Go for it.
It is Brawl Brothers, Demon's Crest, Joe and Mac 2, Lost in the Tropics, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Star Fox, Super EDF, Earth Defense Force, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, Super Puyo Puyo 2, Super Tennis, Breath of Fire, F-Zero, Kirby's Dream Course, Pilot Wings, the one you were talking about, which was Stunt Race FX, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Super Soccer, And last but not least, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
And it's worth noting that 3 of these games, Stunt Race FX, Super Soccer, Super Tennis, this is the first time they've been available since they were released on the Super NES.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And of course, just like the NES library, they're going to add more over time, and it's no extra charge. You can also pre-order a Super Nintendo style controller for your Switch.
I think I'm gonna get that.
I'm really debating it. It looks good. I also wanted to get the NES ones, but
you still can.
Yeah, I don't know. If anything, though, I will get the Super Nintendo ones. I'm really hoping we don't have to wait another year before they start bringing Nintendo 64 games, but with how slow they're rolling these games out, I really think that's how long I'm going to be waiting, maybe even longer. But regardless, Super Nintendo games coming to the Switch is awesome, and I'm super excited for it. Next up, Tetris 99. Have you guys been playing this game still?
No, I stopped playing shortly after it came out, but I still enjoy it. My girlfriend plays it quite a bit.
Tetris is for children.
Yeah, it is. Tetris 99, though, is so good. I love it. I play it every now and then still. They've kind of... They've got a new update coming out tomorrow, a free update that will bring in daily challenges. You'll be able to, if you do the daily challenges, you'll get tickets, which you can use to buy different themes. And the themes have been something that they've been kind of experimenting with over the last few months. They had an event where you had based on where you were placing in matches, you would get a certain amount of points. And if you got 100 points, you would get the original Game Boy theme. So right now, that's my theme. So as I play Tetris 99, it's like playing on an original Game Boy. It's like green screen, and it has the sounds and everything from it. It's really cool. And they've also done that with a Fire Emblem thing as well. But they showed off like a Super Mario theme, a Zelda theme, and just tons of new stuff. Looks awesome. There's also another paid DLC that will let you have multiple people play on one Switch at a time as you're playing online. So that was cool if you want to take advantage of that. I never would. Yeah, Tetris 99, still a great game. Still the best battle royale out there. Mario and Sonic at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics was shown off a little more. They showed off more of the like 2D sprite mini games that they'll have, and also they announced a story mode for it. Either are you excited for this game?
Not really, no.
Nah. Yeah,
sorry.
I love Mario. I love Sonic. This is not the crossover game I want.
Agreed.
It's just not. Daemon X Machina releases next week, but it has a new demo available today that will carry over into the full game. I played the first demo and I wasn't really impressed by it, so I'm not planning on playing it. Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. Connor, you alluded to this earlier. That is making its return. It originally released on the GameCube and the original Xbox. It is coming to the Switch and PS4 September 24th. And it looks like it's a GameCube or original Xbox game, but I mean, it's gonna perform better, at least hopefully. Never played the games myself, but you're looking forward to this, right, Connor?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited to step back in the shoes of Kyle Katarn. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and worth mentioning, they didn't announce it in the Direct, but it was released shortly after, that next year we're going to be getting the sequel, which is Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, which I think, honestly, is the superior game. But, hot takes aside, they're fantastic, super worth playing, and again, gives me hope that we'll get a remaster on some other Star Wars stuff.
I think that this is like the most random announcement we got from this Direct.
It did kind of come out of left field. I mean, it's not even tied to like a Star Wars celebration or, May the 4th or anything. It's just not that time of the year. So, yeah, a little weird.
Well, random Star Wars games are just making a comeback lately. When I was doing the show with Omar, when you guys were out, we covered a news story where they were re-releasing Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, like the NES, the Game Boy, and the Nintendo 64 cartridges, and that was it. They were just re-releasing the cartridges. It's just they seem to be like wanting to bring those games back, which is I don't know how they're pulling it off, because I don't think it's Disney doing it, and I don't think EA has access to those games. I have no idea where it's coming from. Like, maybe it's Lucas Games, but I don't know. It's really weird how they're just pulling that stuff back. Next up, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag and Assassin's Creed Rogue are coming in the Rebel Collection this December. Dauntless is coming at some point this year. They didn't announce when. There was a sizzle reel of new games coming. Lots of new games. Farming Simulator 2020, NBA 2K20, Call of Cthulhu, Vampire, Witcher. They showed off a ton of games coming. Also in there, which I thought was very interesting, is Outer Worlds is coming to the Switch. They didn't give a release date, but it is coming. So that's really cool. Up until this point, we only thought it was going to be on Xbox, PS4, and PC.
I think it's actually been confirmed for quite some time, but they haven't, like you said, I mean, I don't think there's a release date for it. I guess the assumption would be it's the same day, but I don't know. Every time I hear about it, I just can't believe it's happening.
I really think it's just like a Wolfenstein 2 or Doom situation where it like comes out like
after the
10 months later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a while before we get it.
That's fair.
Animal Crossing New Horizons got a bunch of stuff shown off. Either are you excited for that game?
No,
absolutely.
I'm not a big fan of those types of games personally.
Oh, Animal Crossing is so good. I'm unbelievably excited for it, and I think New Horizons looks fantastic. The multiplayer aspects are great. The pole jumping over rivers.
That was awesome. I was not expecting that.
Oh,
that was pretty cool.
Super, super cool. Yeah, I'm very excited for that one.
I like the crafting mechanic that they're putting in there. I haven't played much Animal Crossing. I only got New Leaf for my daughter on her 3DS. And so just like showing her how to do that, that's really all the experience I have. But I'm super excited for it to come to Switch, and especially since it has multiplayer. I mean, I think this is going to be a game that I pick up and I'm playing with you. And then lastly, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is coming sometime in 2020. This was not the Breath of the Wild 2 stuff I wanted, so get out of here, Nintendo. Why does Nintendo hate me? Why do they only give me little bits and pieces that I love and I ask for? They don't give me my Legend of Zelda complete collection of every Zelda game. They're not giving me Breath of the Wild 2. All I'm getting is Link's Awakening, which is an amazing game. Come on, Nintendo.
I mean, you're also getting a Currydex, so I mean...
yeah, man. In all honesty, this Nintendo Direct was awesome. 40 minutes of stuff. It was jam-packed with a ton of good stuff. A lot of, like, even the stuff I didn't care about, I'm like, okay, someone is going to like this. And it's just another example of how Nintendo is just continuing to climb this huge mountain. I just feel like everyone like puts Sony and Microsoft like ahead of them with like console stuff right now, but Nintendo's in their own game right now and they're just rocking it.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the better directs in recent memory for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But that does it for the Nintendo Direct news. If you want to get us out of here,
are we gonna do Connor? You want to talk about that now, or do you want to save it for next week?
I can talk about it now or save it for next week. I've got a list of notes. I did get hands-on with a few games if you just want to chat about those real quick. And I can save the other stuff for some other time.
Yeah, we are going a bit long.
So just a quick intro as to what we're talking about. Last week I was actually on a work trip. I was out of state. I live in Michigan, away from these guys. And I was in Nashville, Tennessee last week for GameStop 2019 conference. It's where all the store leaders, once a year, they fly them out to different places. It's been in Vegas, it's been in LA, it's been in Indianapolis, which is really gross. I don't understand why. But this year was in Nashville. Got a chance to get out there, and it's essentially kind of like a miniature E3 experience where different vendors come out and they're kind of showing off their products and everything to get us excited about it so that we'll sell it, hopefully at a better rate than usual. I'll talk more about some of the other stuff that I got to see, as there was a ton of exclusive footage, a ton of exclusive gameplay that we got to see. Unfortunately, I'm under quite a few different NDAs for some of that stuff, but I just wanted to recap a few of the highlights of things that I saw that I thought were worth checking out. So I did manage to get hands-on with a few games. Those games were Final Fantasy VII Remake. I did get a chance to play that. I also got a chance to play Link's Awakening, which is releasing here in the near future. And one that surprised me is I really do not care about the franchise at all, but I got to play Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, the latest in the Dragon Ball series. So those were all
I'm very
pretty
excited
cool.
for that game.
Yeah, Kakarot specifically, the fluidity of the combat blew my mind on just how good it felt. We got to play a section where you play as Gohan up against Perfect Cell, which is pulling directly out of the show, obviously. And it just felt really good. The cutscenes that kind of went throughout the battle looked fantastic. The graphics were solid and smooth. The combat system, I felt like it was kind of similar to Jump Force. If you've had a chance to play Jump Force at all, where you kind of have like a rush attack, which kind of closes the gap or the distance between you and the enemy, some kind of ranged attack, and then some kind of charge attack as well, and some modifiers in between, but not overly complicated as far as the combos and stuff go. But the combat just felt really, really good, which definitely impressed me. I'm a huge fighting game fan, and I think that this, to me, feels a little bit more like a fighting game with RPG aspects than an RPG with fighting game aspects. So pretty stoked on that one. I'll jump into Link's Awakening next. I was super, super stoked to get hands-on with that one. Feels really good. It looks fantastic, obviously. We played on like giant 50-inch screens, so it was a little pixelated, which was unfortunate. I definitely think the televisions didn't do it justice, so I'm interested to see how it looks when it actually releases. But as far as the gameplay goes, one thing that surprised me about it, did either of you guys play the original?
I played it, never beat it though.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
never
can't
played
seem
it.
to remember. I'm assuming it's the case, being that it would have been on a 4-way. But the game, even though it's on a joystick now, it is an 8-way gate all around. So it's really only 8 dimensions of movement. It's not like a full 3D movement in it. You can only move, up, down, left, right, and then diagonal for each of those directions as well.
It was the same way.
Yeah, it's a little strange on a joystick, I won't lie. I feel like it definitely is intended to play on a D-pad, and it makes the game feel a little chunky, simply because you don't have that freedom of movement. So I was a little bummed out to see that. Maybe it's something you get used to over time, but that being said, the gameplay is just fantastic.
Sean, do you remember, is that how A Link Between Worlds was as well?
No, that one had more of a fluidity to it.
Kind of a free form.
I think this, they wanted to try and make it as close to the original as they could.
Okay.
It did seem like they were shooting for that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I enjoyed A Link Between Worlds a lot. And it kind of seems like they're giving this game similar treatment in some aspects, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm stoked for it. Like it's gonna be great. But Link's Awakening has just always been a great game, even on the Game Boy. It's definitely one of the games I'm looking forward to most this year.
All right, and
Yes.
last but not least, Final Fantasy VII. I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are on this.
Yeah, so I never beat the original. I played a healthy amount of it, a few hours here and there. And this honestly was a nice surprise to the combat and just the overall overhaul of the game systems. Graphics obviously were fantastic. The section that I got to play was the section that we saw pretty much the demo of, where you are going to plant the bomb inside the Shinra Power Company plant, and there's that giant like spider tank boss that comes out and you and Barrett have to Cloud and Barrett have to take it down. And I got to play that whole boss fight, and I'm happy to report that the game looks fantastic and plays pretty well too. I started off playing with the mode that kind of pauses the combat for you to be able to select abilities. And around the end of my demo, I finally found out how to switch it over to the other mode where you can kind of have hotkeys instead and not have to pause the combat in order to select powers, which makes the game feel much, much better. I was expecting something a little bit more fluid, especially coming from Final Fantasy 15 being their most recent, and just how fluid the combat in that feels. But I think it goes a long way in updating a classic to a more of a modern feel. So very happy with how that one played. No performance issues or anything like that. I'm not sure what we were playing on. I think it was PS4 Pro is where we were at. But yeah, I mean, it looks fantastic. I did get to see some gameplay on that one of another mission. Unfortunately, I can't quite talk about that, which is a bummer because it was pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, overall, game was pretty fantastic. They actually had the series director there signing autographs and taking pictures and stuff, which was pretty cool. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go through with that, but he actually hung out for a little bit and was just talking shop with some people and just checking out the game with people. So cool stuff all in all. I'm sure I'm going to have more to kind of report on it. I did see some Jedi Fallen Order exclusive footage that blew my freaking mind and excited me for that game even more. I did also see, again, unfortunately under an NDA on that one, but I saw some exclusive Marvel Avengers footage that absolutely changed my mind about that game. So
I'm really excited for you to be able to talk about that.
Yeah,
because...
me too. I'm really hoping they show some of that stuff at PAX here potentially, so that I have a chance to talk about it, because it really kind of changed my opinion about the game overall. Is it gave a more in-depth idea of what that game is and what it's trying to be. So
I mean, PAX was this past weekend and they didn't show anything.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, it is kind of over now, isn't it? Jeez. One last one. Sorry, I'm kind of scrolling through my notes here. I actually got to see some more Last of Us 2.
Really?
Yep.
I'm guessing you're under NDA for that, though.
Yep. I can't talk about what I saw, but what I can tell you is that, boy, does that game look like Last of Us 2. And
I've heard.
I'm unbelievably excited for that. It is, I think, just Last of Us 2 but more mature, or Last of Us but more mature. Very, very stoked for that one. I'm really hoping that we get to see some more information. Unfortunately, no release dates or anything like that, but really excited to see what comes out of there.
All right. Well, yeah, I think that next week you can go a little more in depth on kind of what you did while you were there, because you were there for a few days, right?
Yeah, I spent a good majority of the week last week out there.
All right, cool. But with that, I think we should conclude episode 75 of the Pixel Street Podcast. As always, email us pixelstreetpodcast@gmail.com. Tweet at us at Pixel Street Pod, or go to our Facebook by searching for Pixel Street Podcast there. My name is Joel Campos. You can find me on Twitter at Campos63. John, where can we find you?
On Twitter, I am at RevXShadows. You can also look me up on YouTube, youtube.com/JohnJW92, or just search RevXShadows. I put up my, I streamed the Nintendo Direct today and put up a reaction video, and also I've been playing Detroit Become Human, so be sure to check that out. Possibly I'll make a Control video review, not sure. I already made one for a different site, so don't know if I want to make another one, but as I said earlier, also keep a lookout on my Twitter for when my WoW Classic review goes up.
Cool. And Connor Kopp, where can we find you on the interwebs?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at @TheRealBirch. That's Birch with no I. And I also stream from time to time, sometimes with John. Joel and I have also talked about streaming from time to time, too. Hopefully we can get a group stream here. That would be fantastic.
Let's get some horde.
I have heard that the campaign's 3-player.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Might have to put that to the test. So, yeah, I'm on Mixer, Birch, again with no I. You can catch me on there, or Twitter if you want to see my mindless rambling. But yeah, that's where you can find me if you so choose to do so.
All right, and with that, we end episode 75. We will see you next week right here for episode 76.
Woo!
Bye.